What's going on, everyone? I'm Dr. Ryan Balmes, sports physical therapist with ENDVR Health, and once again, I have an awesome special guest here, and I will let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, my name is James. I'm a physical therapist, but also the director of Atlanta Run Club, and yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, and I do want to say on the record, for anyone, like, how many years out as a PT are you now?
3 years. Almost 3 years, yeah.
I meet a lot of new grad PTs. You're still in there, considered new grad-ish, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to 5, you're not new grad. I meet a lot of new grads, and they say all this stuff, like, I want to do this. Some of them do it. You're definitely in that category of you do it, right? So I definitely want to give props to you in terms of, like, all the stuff that you've done so far.
Thank you.
ARC has been super impressive, and I think you even got recently nominated.
Yeah, it was.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was. My friend actually hit me up. She's on board for this organization called Korean American Coalition.
Yeah.
And basically, every year they pick somebody to highlight, like, leadership in the community to advance, like, the Korean American demographic. And so, myself being a Korean American, I was really honored to be considered for that. So, yeah, it was a nomination just to be picked for that.
It's a big deal. It's awesome. Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That's huge. And so, like I said, can't say it enough. Very impressed with your body of work so far. The future is really bright. And, for those, like I mentioned before, when I meet people, it's like you're definitely one of the doers. Like, you can say you do it, and here you are. And I think, so for those of you that were there at the 5K, it was an awesome time. How are you feeling after the 5K?
Good. I'm at the tail end of just recovering mentally and physically from all that. Yeah.
How'd you feel? Did you feel like, in terms of what you envisioned and then what you saw, did it meet your expectations? Did it surpass it? What'd you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Just the turnout, first of all, I thought was great. And just the experience that we wanted to provide for people, making it a diverse experience culturally, ethnically. That was the heart behind this race we put together. So just seeing people out there that honestly were majority, minority, just all different races represented. I thought that was really neat. And so from that perspective, I think it was a success. Definitely more we could do for next year, but overall, extremely thankful and grateful for it.
Yeah, and thank you for having me and Dr. Kim out there. And I felt like I should have ran it. I could have just ran it and then come back super sweaty.
Yeah.
And then, like, because I don't know if you saw, we were mad busy.
Yeah,
we were super busy. It was right next. There were lines. It was either you're getting tacos or you're getting hyperbolic treatment. Or for some people, they were getting both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were busy that day, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course.
So usually I ask this at the end. I'm going to change it up a little bit. So ENDVR Health, we named it after really kind of that notion or idea that the clients that we work with, and you're a physical therapist, you know this best too, is that every client in front of us has an endeavor. Right? It's
right.
Whether it be a passion, a goal, we like to call it an endeavor because it is something deeply personal. It's something that you have to work towards, and it's oftentimes not easily attainable. You really have to work hard for it.
Right.
So I'm going to switch things up on this episode. So I wanted to ask, what is your endeavor?
My endeavor, as a PT, one of the first reasons why I wanted to go into this field was to promote fitness and just healthier lifestyles. I think that was just engraved into my mindset, like, growing up, and just the importance of having a fit life, and not necessarily like, you don't need to be competing as a professional athlete or even as an amateur, but just adapting a healthy lifestyle. There's so much about that you can take away, and it's so valuable. Just living this life on earth. It requires discipline. There's achievements, there's celebrations, there's milestones you can hit. And when you can do those things together as a community, that's where my deepest passion lies. So it's being able to bring together the idea of fitness in a community-centered setting. So I would say that's my main endeavor, to really push the culture to do that. Whether it's through, it can be like small accountability groups here and there, but my heart is really set on doing it through community experiences, such as the 5K.
Was there anything that led you to discover that endeavor of yours? Any personal experiences that you've had being younger or anything like that that's led you, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Mm-hmm. I mean, just growing up, I feel like I always loved just connecting people and bringing people together to a bigger body. And it just, one day, I think it was like sometime, honestly, last year before Atlanta Run Club started, like people kept telling me, man, I see that you love like bringing people together. And I never thought about it in that way, but at a certain point, I just kind of realized and told myself, and I started to be more confident just in the way that I was made, like, yeah, this is something that I love to do. And I had to really own it for it to really like manifest in whatever way. So yeah, growing up, I don't think I noticed it, but definitely in recent years, I became more confident in what I like to do and what I love and enjoy doing. And just being able to, just to exercise that, make it a reality.
Yeah. And I think now more than ever, you can do that.
Right.
Given all the, I don't want to say social media, but really kind of the nature of how the world is now.
Right.
Social media and the easily attainable technologies that we have allows you to kind of express what that is. Yeah. And there is somewhat of a, if you're fortunate enough, a buffer to explore that. Right. And not necessarily, put yourself in the hole.
Right.
Like even 10 years or 20 years before, that would have been very difficult to do. Yeah. Because you probably had to get a full-time 9-to-5 job or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So, very awesome. So, where do you see ARC is headed next? I know you're just still recovering. Right. But can you lay down a little preview as to what you're thinking? Maybe even something crazy like, are you guys going to do a race on the moon? Like, what's the next? What's the next thing, man?
Man, it's just to. So it's been a year since Atlanta Run Club started.
But you've accomplished so much in the year.
It was the team, the people that really believe in us. And I would say our focus for this next year is to kind of really take time to debrief and recap on what worked for us this past year, what didn't. But definitely continue on this trend of creating these pop-up run experiences and just doing those better, continuing to invest into the community and do the 5K again, but think of ways to do it better logistically and also always adding innovation to it, I think is the key. But yeah, just to revisit this past year and continue like the skeleton of what we created, but just do it better and bigger. I think that's what's on our hearts,
Very cool. Do you see this something as like something going outside of Atlanta, or are you going to really hone in on Atlanta first?
I think hone in on Atlanta.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I think when we go outside, sometimes like it can be not really organic.
True.
Especially if I'm trying to do it. I mean, if somebody from
you don't live in Houston,
right?
You don't know
I don't live in
Houston's
Houston.
about.
I'm not trying to start like a Houston run thing, but I mean, if there was some type of connection between like these genuine grassroots movements, I think that'd be cool.
True. Yeah.
Some type of network, but I think Atlanta is such a huge city. Like there's so many different communities that make up the city's DNA. So there's a lot of work to be done for sure. And I think it's plenty for us to do.
One thing that just popped up into my mind was you mentioned, you've been nominated for something out of your culture, like Korean American.
Yeah.
Right? For representation. And representation is a big key word right now, however you'd like to look at it. Is there anything that you see in terms of maybe people of color and their attitudes or beliefs towards fitness? What have you seen? Is that something that we do have to work a lot harder? Right. Or is that something that's there, just not represented? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it depends on the sport or activity.
True.
Particularly with running. Running is exposed in all countries pretty much, from what I know. I mean, it's a very universal global sport, but the culture of races, like the culture of 5Ks, like picking up your bib numbers and, just like what's kind of already expected maybe in parts of Atlanta. When it comes to the minority demographic, a lot of people may not be familiar. So this 5K that we had a great turnout of minority representation, but it was their first 5K for a lot of them. So like they needed the basic instruction of what a bib was, like why do we need it, what is this for? And so it definitely opened my eyes. Like, it's just not like a normal thing maybe for Korean Americans or other minority groups to do, because I mean, growing up, like my parents never ran a 5K.
Yeah,
It was
same here.
The one we did was their first one. So yeah, that culture, there was no precedent of that culture set before us. So
you literally popped their cherry for the 5K experience.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember sitting there in the volunteer meeting that we had.
Yeah.
And like when someone had to like talk about like what is a bib.
Yeah.
I like at first my like reaction was, are you serious? But then at the same time I was like, no, there's literally some people that they say they're runners, but they've never ran a race. Don't know what a bib means.
Right.
And I love the fact that, you know, you were patient about it and you explained it. And now I think you set the bar high, because when they go to another 5K, they may not get dope music or like really cool foods or something like that. So now they're going to have a high expectation of what a 5K experience is. But yeah, that's a good point. I think depending culturally, whether you grew up, like you're right, it's just not something you know about.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see a reason for that? Do you think they're scared, or they just don't know, so they don't do it? Or
I just think it's unfamiliar territory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope that after this experience, it'll encourage people to sign up for other races and pursue other things. But yeah, they just don't. I just don't think they know.
Mm-hmm. I did remember when I was working with some people after the race, I'd ask them like, "How was your race?" And it was really like, you know, it's like, oh, it did okay. And then I am asking very race-related questions like, did you hit a PR? How was your time? And they were very like, no, I was just happy I finished. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I was asking really serious runner questions.
Right.
But yeah, it was unknown, but they had a great time though.
Yeah,
they sounded like they had
for sure.
The course was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Good course to go down and back. Pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, because I always feel like 5K is kind of like the gateway drug towards like running and other races. Where do you think you've gotten a little bit of that? What was your feedback from some of the racers? Were like, man, that was fun. I want to do another one, or what's another distance, or things like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. This situation was a little different because typically when I ask people out races, the feedback I hear is it's pretty similar across the board. Like the course was good in this sense and this and that, but the focus of the feedback from this one was very like experience based. Like
could you explain more?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, the race was held on Beaufort Highway, which is historically it's a huge diverse hub of minorities, and
it's Atlanta's Chinatown.
Yeah. So a lot of people that came out to the race, like there was some type of resonation with the location, the physical location of Buhai.
True.
I remember as a kid, like my parents would take me on Buhai, and literally that city farmers market that we held it at, like we would go in there, and my parents would like shop for things. And, you know, like there's so many memories tied to it, and so when people showed up to the race and they finished the race, like all that was good, but I think the feedback was more of like, man, it was so amazing to see like people that kind of share values or we're familiar with, to just gather in one spot and to do something like running like we've never done or have done, but you know, it ended up being difficult, whatever. And for people that don't have like a history with Beaufort Highway, those people
now
are there
they do.
too. Now they do. And now they see, wow, this is like a really rich cultural place. And there's a lot of stories, a lot of unique narratives that stemmed out of this location.
I'm not from Atlanta, but even my connection to Buhai is just the food. And obviously food comes naturally with friends that you go out with,
right.
memories that way. And even though I moved out of the perimeter now, coming back to Buhai always gives me that sense of like,
right.
These were like my first years in Atlanta type fun stuff, going out late night at 24-hour pho, or getting, you know, the favorite foods, or meeting up at Sweet Hut. So that's my experience. So definitely coming back was just like, yo, we're doing a race out here.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there any areas that you foresee you'd want to do another race? If you're going from that experiential feel, any races or areas that you think you might want to try again? Or try experiential-wise?
Yeah, you know, we talked about that. I think for myself, like when it comes to like Atlanta, I think there's value in creating races and out of our personal experiences and out of like our personal stories. So Buhai for us, like it felt genuine because everybody behind it, at least the directors, like we had some type of tie connection from the past. For me, like, I mean, I grew up in Marietta, lived in Atlanta, and then I live in Duluth now. So if we were to do like another area to choose for a race, like maybe one of those locations. I mean, we'd love to go into Atlanta, the city, as Atlanta Run Club, to do something more in the city. But I just think it has to make sense, and we don't want to just do it just to do it. But there has to be like a grassroots, like kind of like a genuine narrative behind it. Yeah.
And I do appreciate that, because then it's like, you know, if you were to say, yo, we're going to do a run on the Beltline Midtown.
Right.
No offense to the Beltline Midtown, but, you know, it's just different, right? Right. It's not to say that there's no narratives there, but I like that you're purposely being genuine with where you want it to be, just so that the experience could be, you know, unique.
Right.
And I think for runners that do love the brand, they understand that, like, if you were to have it in Duluth, there would be really no question. It'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do it in Duluth.
Yeah.
And what I love about you and your crew is that it's like unapologetically like, yeah, we're doing it on Buhai.
Yeah.
There's no like, it's like, no, we're doing it at Buhai.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And that's what's beautiful about today. Everyone can have their unique lights.
Right.
And it's nothing against everyone else's type races, but it's like you are setting the stake of like, this is what ARC is. This is what we're about.
Right.
So, yeah, I do appreciate that. That's really nice.
Awesome, yeah.
Any running goals that you're pursuing right now?
Man, I actually kind of took a break from like doing races myself this year. But the last race I did was the New York City Marathon in November.
That's right.
Yeah. So
How'd
that
you
was
do?
awesome. I was gassed.
All right, now that we're getting into the serious runner portion, what happened, man?
Yeah,
did you bonk? What happened?
So
it's a hard race, I've heard.
Yeah, for sure. I did pretty well like the first half of it.
Yeah.
I averaged like 9 minutes a mile, and then like from there it just kind of went downhill. But
was the terrain hard? Like, I've heard that the bridges are what's tough.
Yeah. It's tough. They're also dead zones of in terms of cheering. So there's no one like really on the bridges.
Yeah.
While the other parts of the race, like, it's very lively, people are shouting and cheering you on. But with the bridge portion, it was just hard. But
What was your time? You mind me asking?
I did like a little over 10 minutes a mile, so whatever that.
Oh, you didn't remember the time?
It was like 2 hours and
for
not
full?
2 hours. So not sorry.
By like 4.
4, yeah.
Nice. That's a great time. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Sub 5?
Yeah.
Was that your first marathon?
Sub 5, yeah.
First marathon?
Second marathon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you improve on your first marathon then?
Yeah. The first marathon, that was rough. It was in Helen, Georgia, so it was through like mountains and stuff.
Yo, that had to have been
that was
really
tough.
hard.
I did that one in like 6 hours because it was
my first marathon with my brothers, and we really wanted to just finish together.
Yeah.
And so obviously the common denominator we had to back up, but our youngest brother was the most trained.
Yeah.
I was the middle of the pack, and then my middle brother, he was the least trained, but he knew that.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, let's just see what goes. And we all finished around like the 6 hour mark, which is not bad for someone that didn't train at all.
Right.
So me, I was hurting. My youngest brother, he was like, all right, let's keep going. So he was pushing us along the LA Marathon. If you ever get a chance, you should definitely try that.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to talk about culture? I think LA running, like the marathon is great. They do something great with like all the local LA public schools, and they help them train, and they get them to the marathon. So if you want to talk about getting people active and all that, man, that was a really cool experience to see these kids running and
for sure.
learning what a marathon. Can you imagine if you're like a 12-year-old and running a marathon, and you have like an actual like organization supporting you and all that? It was great. I don't know what it's called,
awesome.
but it was like Student Run LA or something like that.
Cool.
But definitely a fun race to try. Because now that you got New York underway, you might as well get LA, maybe Chicago.
I'm trying to do maybe one more in my lifetime.
Just one more?
Just one more, yeah. I've done 2. Make it 3.
Make it 3?
Yeah.
I want to do another one because I definitely want to improve upon my time.
Yeah.
Just got to figure out which one that'll be.
Right.
Chicago maybe.
Chicago, yeah.
You know the thing about marathon training, it takes up a lot.
It does.
Of your time.
Yeah.
But kind of like what I'm doing with the Peachtree, I'm trying to figure out how much least amount of running training I could do, but still be successful. That's my
Right.
thesis right now for
Yeah,
next
yeah,
Thursday.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Is like how much running can I not do and still be good?
Yeah, still do it.
So that would be interesting to do. And then tell me more about like some of the stuff that you've done with Adidas. Is that like an ARC thing too as well?
Sort of. So they actually reached out to me because they saw the page Atlanta Run Club.
Yeah.
So when I say they, it wasn't Adidas. It was a marketing production agency that
Cool.
has a very long-standing relationship with Adidas,
Yeah.
with Nike, with all these big
Mhm.
brands. So they're kind of the mediator between Adidas and the
Mhm.
clients, and basically they reached out to my. It was through social media, through Instagram. They
That's
just
cool.
sent me a message and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, like, are you interested in doing this project like for Adidas?" And when I first started it, you get a lot of DMs and stuff like from random people at
Yeah.
times, and
Yeah.
I was like sort of skeptical, but it was cool. Like I continued to talk to him, and I was like, "Oh, this is legit." And then like Bam, who's my good friend, great brother, man. He's the leader of Pond City Market Run Club, and he's like, "Oh, I got this too." So they were kind of targeting like the local Atlanta Run Club heads, the grassroots initiators, just to bring them together and basically do this shoot to promo for the 2019 Ultra Boost shoot. And it was amazing. Like, I mean, they took us out in like vans, we got like celebrity treatment.
Fancy.
Yeah, for like 4 days.
Yeah.
They had to fit us, and basically like for 4 days, they took us around. They took pictures of us while we ran, and the people I met there, like amazing. We're like family now.
That's
the
awesome.
people we met. So
That's very cool.
and they're all kind of doing like their own fitness thing in Atlanta too. So, we try to get together every now and then, collab on some stuff here and there. But yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, I had another discussion in terms of like the fitness community and that Atlanta is up there.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts in terms of fitness community city-wise?
Yeah, it's very supportive, very
Yeah.
like willing to collab. ARC wouldn't be where it's at if it wasn't for people who are just really willing to do stuff together. Like my friend Jordan with Revive Movement, Josh Jackson at Fourth Quarter. Like there are people that are just so wanting to just work together and get after it together. And I think that's such a positive, like contagious attitude.
Yeah.
Which
I'm glad. It's good that that's here. And maybe that's a product of just our Southern hospitality.
Right.
Right? And there is plenty to go around.
Yeah.
In terms of clients.
Yeah. Especially here, Elite Edge, it was so easy to set up to collab with you guys and do something.
Yeah. So it's been nice. That Southern hospitality has been definitely unique.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I'm sure in other places it may not be.
It may not be as easy to.
And then ultimately who suffers are like the consumers, people that are trying to get healthier.
Right.
Figure things out, things like that.
Right.
Thoughts in terms of running. So you have ARC. Any thoughts in terms of like the new runner, the beginner runner? Any tips of motivation, things to avoid that you think could help a beginner runner so that, let's say you do have another race or a pop-up race, they could finally muster up the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I love running because there's so many stories of just like comebacks of doing the impossible. Like it's one of those things where you get what you put in, and if you work hard towards it, like I think you can achieve literally anything. I mean, I come from I talked about doing a marathon, but like honestly, I did my first 5K I think back in 2015, which wasn't that long ago, and I was like dead. Like, I think I averaged like maybe 10, 11 minutes a mile, and I was like, dude, I hate running.
Yeah.
But just going back to when you asked me about the question of what my endeavor was, it's like there's so many elements of fitness that I love, and one of them is like teaching you like discipline, teaching you, hey, you can do it, just like put work into it. Even if it takes like having people surround you to push you on and encourage you and support you. Those things are achievable, and you can do it.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I really like the page, Instagram, like maybe the next pop-up, absolutely go try. Go ahead and show up. And, I've been to a few, and I could honestly say that everyone was very welcoming. You have varying distances.
Mm-hmm.
What was the last time it was like at Sweet Hut or something? You could get yourself some Sweet Hut afterwards or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I mean, it's the whole thing with ARC
it's
is
chill.
it's very chill. Like very like Christian Haas, our creative director, like he kills it with the designs, and
It's been great.
sometimes it can look intimidating because you might get the thought that wow, these are like professional runners, but we are far from professional.
Far
runners,
from professional.
We're the type that, like for the 5K is a perfect example. Like 99% of 5Ks are 6 a.m. We're like, nope, we're gonna make ours at 6
That is
p.m.
true. Yeah.
After everybody wakes up.
Yeah.
After they do what they need to do, and
Yeah.
then if they need a time to just have fun, to socialize, and to eat good food, like let's just do it at night.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so definitely not professional runners by any means. There's some fast ones, there's some slow ones, but definitely the range is varied for sure.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit running shoe, because I'm a running shoe nerd. Favorite running shoe that you're running in right now or like to run?
Yeah,
Are you supposed to say Adidas? How does that work now?
I do like the Ultra Boost that came out. I thought they were pretty comfortable. I actually ran the marathon, my last marathon in Nike Reacts.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, it was fine.
How are those compared to the Boost? The React, because the React is like their own version of the Boost.
Right. I mean, I didn't run in the Boost for more than like 50 feet at a time.
True.
Right. Like we weren't
nothing
doing,
like a long distance.
Nothing long distance. The Nikes held up pretty well actually. I was very surprised. I mean, because I come from like the Brooks, just like the standard running shoes that most like professional runners like to run in. I don't even know, if you ask me, I don't know what like the end shoe is right now in the running scene, but yeah, I just ran with the Nikes and it was great. The Ultra Boosts were comfortable too.
Yeah. Was there anything that you didn't like about the Reacts or Boosts at all that you found?
Not really. I mean, I actually got them maybe like 2-3 weeks before the race, so I had to break into it pretty quickly.
That's ballsy. Yeah. That could have been bad real quick.
Yeah, but I should have.
That's probably a testament to the shoe, though.
Yeah. For sure. But I felt great afterwards.
So it sounds like you're more like a cushion guy. You like the
more cushion. Yeah, more cushion.
Didn't know if you need like stability or stuff like that, but just pure cushion.
I just want my feet to be comfortable. That's when I run the best. Yeah.
No, I hear you. I've kind of gone back and forth of going to like super low profile, firm, and now I'm kind of like, I kind of want my feet to be comfortable now.
Yeah.
Something really soft.
And the shoes look nice, so I was like, I want to look good when I'm running.
Yeah, well, cool. And any other tips or anything that you'd want to talk about towards the kind of like your ARC following, or maybe those that are considering running again with your pop-up?
Yeah, I mean, for new runners, like if this is your first time and you're thinking about like just trying it out, like you're definitely not the only one. There's so many people that, just want to do it, but that little push they might need could potentially be, hey, I just want someone else that's kind of in the same boat as me, and there's a lot of those people. So just to encourage people, if you've considered coming out to one of our runs, like you're not alone, there'll be a lot of people kind of at the beginner level running like that mile, that 2 mile, whatever. But, anywhere you go, there will be serious runners too.
True.
I've kind of like realized that.
Yeah.
Not so much at air. Not that I really know. I mean, at the 5K, I think first place.
Yeah, who was the first place finish? I didn't get
like
to see
17 minutes.
Yo,
it's crazy.
Shout out to you, man. 17 minutes?
Right.
That was like his easy day. He's like,
Yeah. I think he was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, is that guy? I saw that guy.
He was like first or second.
That's what you got to watch out for. Okay, for any new runners, if you see a guy that looks dressed, but he doesn't look like he's going to run, that guy's probably going to be fast.
Yeah.
Right? Hawaiian shirt on a race day?
Yeah.
I saw him from a distance. I was like, yeah, he looks like he's going to be fast.
Yeah. I could tell he's going to be fast,
17.
Sure.
Nice.
17, 17:01 or 2 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a crazy pace.
Yeah.
I was teasing everyone that came by the tent. I was like, yo, sub 21 minute
Yeah.
finish. And they're like, no. But yeah. So if you're a new runner considering going, absolutely join the ARC pop-ups. They're super, super fun, really cool locations. Are we, what's the next one? Do we happen to know? Is it next few months, or if you don't know, that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah, I think next month we'll have something
Nice.
in Buckhead, in that area. Yeah, we still need to talk out details, but yeah,
Very
probably
cool.
in a month. We usually announce on Instagram, and we're starting like an email thread too for people that want
Perfect.
email notifications.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Was there anything else you'd want to plug or let our listeners know about you, ARC?
If you guys need recovery, Endeavor Health.
No,
We'll get
yeah.
at Lead Edge.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, Atlanta Run Club, James Rowe, thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate you.
Always, yeah.
Appreciate you being on here, and yeah, would love to support you anytime. Next pop-up run, I'll be there. I don't care how hot it is.
Yeah,
Let's do it. And heck, maybe I'll show up in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
And get people be like, "What is up with this guy?"
Yeah.
And run super fast, and then when I come back, I'm like dying. I'm like in the back. Don't see me. Don't see me.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks again for coming, man.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Yeah, thank you.